Stand for something, even if it means sacrificing everything. If people say your beliefs are crazy, if they mock you for what you stand for, it doesn't matter. Keep standing. Because what you stand for protects their rights to mock you. It protects all of their rights. Don't become a cop just to carry a gun. Or drive a fast car. Become a cop to protect the innocent. Don't picture yourself as a hero. Picture yourself as a brother in arms. Don't settle for living in fear of the dark. Make the dark live in fear of you. Pass along generations of knowledge. Respect. And humility. Don't believe you have to be like everyone else, just because it's easy and costs nothing. When they write about the greatest nation in the world, make sure it's our nation. Be kind to everyone, but let no one confuse your kindness for weakness. Protect those who cannot protect themselves. Kneel when it's required, but always stand when it matters. So don't ask if everyone else believes that. Ask it of yourself.
Welcome back to the King's Report for August 15, 2020. My name is Richard Panzer, standing in for the second Camp Channel Gook. And we have a wonderful guest from the UK, Mary, our sister Mary Coe. Are you live in the London area? Is that right? Great. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And Marie wrote an article which we posted on the Rod of Iron Kingdom, Rod of Iron Ministry website, and also on the Freedom, Faith, and Family.org website. And so I wanted to invite Marie to, you wrote this for Veterans for Child Rescue, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm a volunteer on their team, although I can't really work and do things for them as an association here, but I can write articles.
Right. Okay, well, wonderful. Okay, so that's kind of inspiring. I mean, she's not even in the United States, but she's helping an American-based organization. So thank you for doing that. And okay, so let me share this screen here. I can share the screen. All right, so here's the article that Marie wrote, and I hope you all can see this. And it's about Satanism and ritual child sex abuse. And the reason why I was interested to publish this article was because Hyunjim talks about this topic, but I think it's very helpful to have more details, right? More details about what has been discovered. So I did read the beginning of this article last week, so I'm going to. I read about where the police and I believe in Tampa, Florida, arrested two men. They had a van with a bunch of children who looked like they had been abused, and so they were these men were arrested. So let me scroll down here. So we've already read that. Yeah, the Tallahassee Police Department arrested these men, and then it was forwarded. They also found information about activities going on in Washington, D.C. So we'll start there with the search warrants for properties in Washington, D.C. So, Marie, can you read this for us?
Yes. All right. So this is actually where the finders lived with some of the children. Such warrants were obtained for each property believed to belong to the finders on February the 5th and 6th, 1987. Okay, some of the writing is blocked here, I can't say. So I'm going to read it from my article here.
Okay.
Okay. Right, so the USCS claimed to have seen large quantities of children's clothing and toys. The clothing consisted of diapers and clothes in the toddler to preschool range. No children were found on the premises. There were several subjects on the premises. Only one was deemed to be connected to the finders. The rest were renting living space from this individual. A substantial amount of computer equipment and documents purportedly containing instructions for obtaining children for unspecified purposes included the impregnation of female members of the community, purchasing of children, trading children, and kidnapping them. There were text messages using HCI account numbers between a computer terminal believed to be located in the same room and others located across the country and other foreign locations. One such text specifically ordered the purchase of 2 children in Hong Kong to be arranged for a contact in the Chinese embassy. Another telex expressed an interest in bank secrecy situations. Other documents identified interest in high-tech transfers to the United Kingdom, numerous properties under the control of the finders, a keen interest in terrorism, explosives, and the evasion of law enforcement. Also found in the computer room was a detailed summary of the events surrounding the arrest and taking into custody the 2 adults and 6 children in Tallahassee, Florida, on the previous night. There were also a set of instructions which appear to be broadcast via a computer network, which advised participants to move the children and to keep them moving through different jurisdictions, and instructions on how to avoid police attention. He goes on to say, the resident was identified as a Chinese national due to the telex discovered referring to the Chinese embassy in Hong Kong. He was a graduate student in the anatomy department of Georgetown University. The Tallahassee Police Department had informed the press while the search warrants were still pending for the 2 properties. Therefore, newspaper clippings on the finder's story can be found in the FBI file and online. The following day, which is Friday, February 6, 1987, U.S. Customs Service Special Agent Raymond J. Martinez met with Detective Bradley at the warehouse. So this is the second location on 4th Street, Northeast Washington, D.C., who said he was able to observe numerous documents which described explicit sexual conduct between members of the community known as finders. I also saw a large collection of photographs of unidentified persons. Some of the photographs were nudes, believed to be members of the finders. There were numerous photos of children, some nude, at least one of which was a photo of a child on display, and appearing to accent the child's genitals. I was also able to examine a very small amount of photos at this time. However, one of the officers presented me with a photo album for my review. The album contained a series of photos of adults and children dressed in white sheets, participating in a blood ritual. The ritual centered around the execution of at least 2 goats. The photos portray the execution, disembowelment, skinning, and dismemberment of the goats at the hands of the children. This included the removal of the testes of male goat, the discovery of a female goat's womb, and the baby goat inside the womb, and the presentation of a goat's head to one of the children. Further inspection of the premises disclosed numerous files relating to activities of the organization in different parts of the world. Locations I observed are as follows: London, Germany, the Bahamas, Japan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Africa, Costa Rica, and Europe. There was also a file identified as Palestinian. Other files were identified by member name or project name. The projects appear to be operated for commercial purposes under front names for the finders. There was one file entitled Pentagon Break-In, and others which referred to members operating in foreign countries. Observed by me, but related by an HPD officer, were intelligence files on private families not related to the finders. The process undertaken appears to have been a systematic response to local newspapers' advertisement for babysitters, tutors, etc. A member of the finders would respond and gather as much information as possible about the habits, the identity, and occupation of the family. The use to which this information was to be out is still unknown. There was also a large amount of data collected on various child care organizations. The warehouse contained a large library, 2 kitchens, a sauna, hot tub, and video room. The video room seemed to be set up as an indoctrination center. It also appeared that the organization had the capability to produce its own videos. There would appear to be training areas for children, and would appear to be an altar set up in the residential area of the warehouse. Many jars of urine and feces were located in this area. Both locations had satellite dish antennas. After the search, Special Agent Raymond Martinez was assured by the authorities that he would have access to the evidence through the customs to pursue any investigation necessary, but only after the MPD was done sorting out the evidence. So on March the 31st, 1987, Special Agent Raymond Martinez was supposed to meet with Detective Bradley of the Washington Metropolitan Police Department, but he was not there. The agent spoke to a third party who told him that the evidence had been handed over to the State Department, who said that the passports seized and the trips made to Moscow, North Korea, and North Vietnam from the 1950s to the 1970s were all within the law. In other words, no federal law had been broken.
Okay,
And
so
this is where the right.
all right, we'll read one more paragraph and then we'll finish. Okay. Yeah.
All right, and this is where the case investigation really ends, because the finder's case becomes a CIA internal matter classified secret, not available for review. He was told that the FBI had dropped the case and that the FBI's Foreign Counterintelligence Division were handling it. They advised the MPD not to discuss what had transpired with the FBI Washington field office.
Okay,
So
I
no
get.
further information was made available.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I guess the main point is that, and it says below that they declined to prosecute the kidnapping and sexual exploitation of the children. So essentially, we have local police discovering children who are being mistreated and apparently kidnapped, or the parents are not there, and investigating and then finding, and that's in Florida, and then they find another location in Washington, D.C. They find this warehouse with a lot of computer records of very strange activities going on, but all of a sudden these policemen are told that the State Department has all the information and the case is closed, basically, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they dropped the case completely, and even the case goes up to the courts, to the DOJ, and they end up completely shutting down the entire investigation, even though they have all this evidence, going for them. That no help came to these children at all.
Okay, so it seems like somehow the high levels of people in the State Department and the CIA, apparently they're covering up something, and so anyway, there's more information. The article that Marie has written, we have a link to. Ted Gunderson is the former FBI agent who wrote about Can you talk about him a little bit?
Yes, Ted Gunderson is an amazing patriot. He joined the FBI back in the 1950s, and he went all the way. He's got 29 years of experience in the field. He was also a counter-terrorist counselor, and he went all the way up to being a senior special agent in charge of Los Angeles, California FBI headquarters. So he had a lot of experience. When he retired from the FBI, he started his own investigation firm. And what's very interesting in this is that Ted Gunderson knew nothing about Satanism. He knew nothing about, child ritual abuse, he only found out about these things after he left the FBI. So that's really interesting. Even though he had all that experience, all that knowledge, all that incredible ability, but he had never heard of Satanism. He had never heard, the only place he'd ever heard about Satan is in the Bible, but not like in real life in America. So this is where his journey to learning about these cases began, was after he retired from the FBI. These cases started coming to him from attorneys and from parents, concerned parents who had missing children, and and he started unraveling these cases which were never resolved. And the reason why he got onto it is because of a case. It was called the Dr. Jeffrey McDonald case, and he was a Green Beret. Back in the 1970s, he was a doctor. And the attorneys of this Green Beret, Dr. McDonald, wanted Mr. Gunderson to take a look at this case because they believed he was innocent, and he was accused by the judges and by the military of murdering his own wife and his two young daughters. And so Ted Gunderson told them that I will only take care of this case if he is innocent. If I find that he's not innocent, I'm getting off the case. So he went into it, and he found out that that the doctor was innocent. And what had happened is that it was actually a satanic cult within the military at Fort Bragg's military base. A satanic cult, a bunch of GIs that actually carried out the murder of his family. And the reason why that happened is because Dr. McDonald found out that they were shipping in cocaine in plastic bags inside the cavities of dead GIs from the Vietnam War, straight from Southeast Asia to the military bases in the US. And because he found that out and he tried to stop them, and he wouldn't shut up about it, they went after his family, they killed his family, and made it look like he did it.
Wow.
So this man is, he was prosecuted for 3 consecutive life sentences, in jail.
Wow.
So he was put in jail in 1979, and he is still there now.
Really?
At the penitentiary. Yes, he's alive, and he's still serving his time there at the penitentiary in Maryland, and the man is innocent. And Ted Gunderson has passed away now since 2011, but somebody else, he passed on the case to another attorney, still fighting for Mr. McDonald.
Wow.
And his family, yeah. So, and it's through this case that Ted Gunderson found out about these Satanism and about child sexual abuse and ritual abuse of children, and this is where his 25 years of research began.
Wow, this is. I mean, it's almost hard to it is hard to comprehend. I mean, I realize that, particularly, I feel like I'm an incredibly naive person. Because I have no idea of actually what's going on, and it's even hard to even want to think about, or even reading about it. I feel like repulsed, but even to read about it is something you don't want to even look at, right?
Yes.
Actually, you and I were talking yesterday about the people in Facebook or YouTube who they their job is to look through videos and to see if there are any like pornographic videos that are not allowed. And this has such a devastating effect on the people who are they're looking at these videos, and it's just so horrific that many of them quit within a month or two, right? They just can't deal with it.
That's correct. And these are tough and military guys. This is the New York PD.
Right.
Tough, strong alpha males, you know.
Right. Oh, with the Veterans for Child Rescue. Yeah.
Yeah, but also with the police department, you know, they're breaking down in tears, and they're having to see specialists to help them deal with with what they've seen.
Yeah.
And so can you imagine if this has such a horrible impact on looking at these images and videos of these children being tortured and raped and killed on video? How much more suffering these children are having to go to, the fear, the loneliness, it's just insane.
Yeah.
And I think these Satanists, they know what they're doing. Their only power is to implant fear in the minds of people.
Right.
But the reason why I write these articles, and I've decided, is that we have to overcome this fear, because these people, they control us through fear.
Right.
And if we don't tackle these hardcore issues,
right,
as Christians, then we're not being realistic, because honestly, we're reading about it now because they're very good. These Satanist organizations, which are all over, everywhere, in every state, every country, they know how to hide, and they know how to make
right,
these Luciferian cults appear appealing, or as if it's a myth. Right? Well, it's just a story, and, but no, us as Christians, we have to understand that this stuff is real, and it's happening to children.
Right.
800,000 children going missing from the United States alone. I've been told by Vets for Child Rescue that the numbers are actually over 1 million children going missing from the United States. And some of these children, they're going into prostitution hubs. They're going into being used for experimentation on military bases. They're being used for child slavery, Satanist ritual, all sorts of things. So we have to understand as Christians that this is a really real phenomenon. And when the Second King talks about, these cults, these the goddess worship from ancient times, it's the same thing.
Right.
It's just been hidden from us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hopeful, I guess the hopeful news is that I believe that President Trump is they're trying to arrest these rings of child molesters and traffickers, and I have read articles also in the Netherlands and Germany and some other places where they're trying to arrest these people, but
yes.
Yeah, that's well. Thank you for writing about this. I know it's kind of a very demoralizing topic, right? But if you think about it, as Hyunjin has explained, the way they keep people silent is they try to get people in compromising situations and film them. Then they can blackmail them and keep them quiet. So it really is mainly people who are following a godly standard who can fight against this, because if you're can be controlled, then you cannot fight this, obviously. So Yeah.
That's right. And what's really important to understand, and what is wonderful about Vets for Child Rescue, is that they really amplify the need to be careful how we let our children use technology.
Right.
Because these pedophiles, these rings, we talk about the finders, but the finders are at work today. It's the same thing. It's just that they know how to change their names
Right.
and how to look cool. They know how to reach your kids, and they do it through technology, through video games, chat rooms. They can pretend that they're a child on your computer game or
Right.
anything that you're watching,
Right.
and have communication with your child.
Right.
And also they can locate where your child is sleeping at night, because your device, your phone, your tablet has a mapping system on it, an app,
Right.
and they are able to detect where you are. So if your child goes out the door, you can end up having your child kidnapped if if you have a gang waiting in a van, waiting to grab your child,
Right.
and it don't have to be small children. It's children of all ages,
Right.
up to the age of 25, unfortunately. Um, um, uh, they can grab them, throw them in a van, drug them, then you never see them again. So it's very important to be aware
Right.
of these of our technology today, because they use that to the fullest extent. In a sense, all this surveillance that we have is more for them and the people in control of this entire orchestrated, empire that they've built. And it is an empire. It's really a very powerful people who are in control of. You think of a little story like this, but actually it's a very big story that never should have been found out.
Right.
And but this is the origins of where child pornography and the pornography business started in
Right.
the United States.
Right.
Back in the 1950s and 60s, they were doing this, preparing this for
Right.
the dismantling of the American people, the American family.
Right.
And you hear about these, in testimonies with Yuri Bezmenov, who explains, how the KGB used the system to break down American society. It's all part of the same thing,
Right.
except they know how to use, they know how to use this ability to keep to take America's children and turn them into whatever they want. They can turn them into spies, into prostitutes, into assassins.
Right.
When you hear about all these shootings that are going on in the U.S., this is all part of their work.
Yeah.
We can't think that this is just a story, that's something that happened long ago. No, it's ongoing, and this is what the amazing thing that Ted Gunderson has done. He has tried to explain to us that what this is much bigger than we can imagine. This is going on all over the world, and it involves people in high places in government, and who are allowing this human trafficking to go on for the purposes of satanic ritual and slavery. And you can imagine that this can only benefit corporations, right? And things like this. So this is what Ted Gunderson has done. Is to me is pretty amazing, and it's for our knowledge. It's for us to understand.
Yeah, and I also remember we were talking before about the importance of, if you're looking into this, it's so important that you keep your relationship with God and God's words, right? Because otherwise you'll be destroyed, basically.
Oh yes, yes, because the satanic energy that these people, they cast spells, they do all sorts of things, right?
Right.
And also the reason why they do these heinous, this is the way I understand it, and some people explain it this way, is that the reason why they make they do these really evil things is to make it so unbelievable, so
Right.
that we think it's just a horror story or something.
Right.
And we disbelieve it, we disregard it. No, this is too unreal to be true, and we cannot believe these children. They're just telling tales.
Right.
So they want to make the situation so bad
Right.
that it's unbelievable. That's how they play the game, and it
Yeah.
is a game to them.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're absolutely right. You have to be entrenched in, drenched in the Word of God, because without that, it's very, very difficult to even write this
Yeah.
stuff and read about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for looking into this area. I think it's very important that we need more information. Otherwise, we think it's just some story or something. It's even hard to believe, right? So
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
and we really have to pray that God guides righteous people in America and around in the UK. I even know what Prince Andrew was found to be involved with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes,
So
yes.
it
And that is
is. Yeah, so I just hope that is not covered up. They conveniently had Jeffrey Epstein kill himself with toilet paper or something. I don't know. It's ridiculous, But
yeah, that's right.
yeah, so
And that's what they do, in all these cases that I've been going through, like the Franklin cover-up. This all happened in the 1980s, and what I find interesting, is that, when we learn about the Kingsley, and what he did,
Alfred Kinsey, yeah.
Alfred Kinsey,
Yeah.
and his experiments on children.
Yeah.
This all started back in the 70s, right? And
Well, no, actually,
maybe-
the Kinsey report was published in 1948, so it's going in the 1940s. And
well,
yeah,
that's even worse. You see.
yeah,
So it's been going on for a long time, and it's interesting how all this sexual revolution and exploitation of child sex
Yeah.
really came out, in the 1970s and 80s, and was really exploited and went on from there.
Well, I mean, right now, I mean, sometimes, I don't know if you had this experience, but I had the experience that a pornographic image showed up on my smartphone, and I'm trying to get rid of it, and it keeps on popping up, and I had to erase my smartphone and get rid of that virus was in my smartphone. So,
Yes.
and then for young people, they may not realize that this is very dangerous. They may be curious and they start watching pornography, and they don't realize that it can really take control of them. I mean,
Yes.
I've heard stories about young men who they started watching pornography at 11 or 12 years old, and it became something that they couldn't control. They had to watch it every day, even several times a day. And then when they get older, it's affecting their marriage. If they're married, it obviously is damaging their marriage. I mean, what woman wants to be married to a man who has a pornography addiction? Or you hear stories about people who are actually watching porn at work. They're actually using their company computer and they're watching pornography. Even people in the government, in the Department of Defense, Department of State, you have people who are addicted to pornography watching it at work. It's horrible.
Yeah.
You know.
That's right. and they know exactly what they're doing, because by doing that, it's a form of mind control.
Yeah.
And they start you very young, like even when you look at children's programs, and it is a form of mind programming when you're putting your small child in front of the television screen or computer screen.
Yeah.
They're watching all these Disney movies, which have all sorts of symbolisms. You sit down and take a good look at them. You can see it.
Right.
You can. There's so much material online that you can research this for yourself. If but it's really real. It's a type of mind control.
Right.
So that especially the Christian based families and children, it's a way to mind control them in a way and pull them away from God.
Right.
Right. Oh, don't do this. Oh, your parents told you to read this. No, take a look at this. It's way more fun and way more cool. And meanwhile, they're throwing all these images at you, which are a lot of them are sexual, and that's how it begins. And we don't realize that it's happening, but that's how. And also the games that kids play, like they look innocent, right? Pokemon and all that, but actually, you look into the history and how of these games that they play, these card games, and they're all satanic.
Right.
They're satanic. So yeah, that's how it begins.
Okay, well, thank you, Marie. Really good to see you, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again sometime soon. But God bless you, and
thank you.
Say hello to Ken for us, and we'll see you again soon. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. God bless you. Bye-bye.
God bless.
Okay, so let's take a break now, and then we'll be back in a few minutes on the King's Report.
Car Arms, Magnum Research, and Auto Ordnance. The Car Firearms Group. With a diverse product line that blends American craftsmanship with cutting-edge technology. It's no secret why gun enthusiasts choose Car Firearms Group. From the Desert Eagle and Baby Desert Eagle made famous by Hollywood. The history of the 1911 and the Tommy gun. To the best in compact concealed carry. Car Firearms Group is not only the first name in personal defense, it's a name that has earned the respect of gun enthusiasts around the world. Concealment, innovative technology, value, accuracy, and history. Car Firearms Group. Made in the USA. Visit car.com today.